Hello everyone out there looking for some rando action on this Friday evening or maybe Saturday morning for some of you. In any event, this is a Lake to the Past Randomizer League Season 5 Invitational League matchup that we've got for you this evening on SpeedGaming 3, featuring Average Frustrated Gamer from Team He Came From and Homemade Beer from Team Beats from the East. I am MindDM. I am joined in the booth this evening by my good buddy Mr. Ed. Ed, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well. I'm actually really looking forward to this matchup between Average Frustrated Gamer and Homemade Beer, two runners that are really well known into the community, who are going to be putting out a good show here in the Invitational mode, which should be nothing more than interesting, especially with the start. For anybody that is not familiar with this, it is inverted start. We do have an assured sword. Wild big keys are in play with the exception of the GT big key. And I'm just really hoping for some absolute convoluted nonsense as far as to get into the light world. And we are actually on our way off.
Yep, we've got a couple of runners here who are both in the same kind of part of the sub-community, that AFG Discord. AFG himself put together what he calls Topsy-Turvy Tuesdays, where members of that community and anybody who wants to drop by on race time on an early Tuesday evening kind of schedule could be inclined to play some various inverted mode. I feel like they've probably played a little Inverosure recently in preparation for this league week. But Beer's part of that as well, so we've got somebody here in AFG who I would say is a bit of an inverted and cross-keys specialist, and maybe Beer is a little more of a generalist than that, but definitely not going to lose out, especially on the execution front. So we've got a battle of somebody who really, really loves the mode, and somebody who's just really good at playing the game.
Not to mention the fact that they both like the meme a lot, so this should be definitely a good race here.
Yeah, early days, we've already gotten bombs. We've gotten to see Johnny 2 bombs. We're getting goodies out of the back of that 5-item location, and now AFG is going to go ahead and head left towards Stumpy, it looks like, and Beer? Yeah, probably you would think early game inverted routing over towards Skull Woods, although with those 3 bombs in hand, maybe you wander down by Village of Outcasts first? Kind of tough to say.
Yeah, it's tough to say with this with inverted. I know some runners like to go ahead and dip into Skull Woods and see what they have there. I know people like to go into the Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town, see what we have there. Really, it kind of always comes into the race of how can we get into the light world as fast as possible. So we're still looking for our Moon Pearl. We're looking for, at the very least, a glove and a hammer, or even possibly 2 gloves, so that we can get into the light world, where there are going to be a plethora of light world checks that we're going to be able to make, and hopefully be able to finish the video game as soon as possible.
And it looks like neither of them are really all that interested in that early Skull Woods play with those bombs already in hand. Beer down there at the brewery already, AFG... yeah, maybe a hair behind, but has that fire rod out of C-shaped house, and options abound.
Fire rod, see? Now that's why we hold off on doing Skull Woods, because we know that progression is going to be on 3 Heart Mothula, or 4 Heart Mothula at this point.
Maybe our runners will be lucky and they'll be on a whole 5 hearts by the time they get there.
Now that's just spoiling them. I mean, come on. I mean, does this game really actually act kind? I mean, look at that. We just got a single arrow on Beer's side here. I mean, this is just fantastic.
Yeah, the game going to try and hold them down to the minimum possible equipment for as long as possible, just to make sure that they can show off for you on this Friday night. Friday Night Rando Lights, here we go. 3 minutes in. Welcome in, everybody. It's going to be a treat.
Oh my god, Beer just got spoiled with red goo. Wow, I mean Mothula's gonna be free at this point.
In fairness to the Moth, it does do 2 hearts of damage. Its beams do 2 hearts of damage. The spikes only do 1, so I guess you could take a Moth and a spike and then potion back up and have a little bit more leeway, but it's not a whole lot. That was Pendant Pod. Ooh, believing in Pendant Pod again. Interesting.
Oh, I know AFG is salivating at this point. It's also worth noting that we have not gotten any rupees, so we don't even have the capabilities of either playing the chess game where there is an item there, or even doing the arrow game where we can actually farm up for some rupees for both the digging game and the chess game, and even possibly going to pod later on if progression does happen to be there. So, very poverty-stricken start on the rupee side here.
And not a whole lot in the way of early information from the seed as to where it wants them to go. And maybe that fire rod is the one pointer they have at the moment.
Oh, I'm hoping flippers on Mothula. Oh, there's our first glove. I'm hoping that our runners have to go to Ice Palace and do some weird shenanigans.
Weird shenanigans are fun. One thing
The
to note
other
with
feature... No, I was going to say real quick, the other feature too with Invrosia is the fact that there's a guaranteed non-dungeon item on the boss, so it's going to be important for our runners to keep track as far as how many items that they have acquired, knowing the fact that the dungeon or the boss cannot have a dungeon item, whether it be a small key, even a big key in certain situations, map or compass. So it'll be good information. We've only gotten one item here. It looks like progression is going to possibly be in the back here.
And it's interesting because I was going to go after the other side of the Invrosia coin with those shuffled big keys. There is an additional item in the dungeons. It's just you have one on the boss guaranteed, and then in the case of Skull Woods, you have two plus that one on the boss rather than the just 2 grand total that you would have normally. It does look like Beer has finally gotten some cash money, picking up the money. This is important. I've learned this.
Very important to get that money when you can. Alright, so if you guys were going to be interested in some Mothula fights in very low percentage, you've come to the right place. 4 hearts, Fire Rod, Fighter Sword. Let's see how they do.
What? Ambrosia forcing runners into low percent moth fights? That never happens. This is totally unnatural, everybody. It doesn't happen in every single inverted seed ever.
Here, picking up that last piece of magic, giving him 1 extra Fire Rod shot here as we get our first look at the Moth here.
Little cooperative early. Now it's gonna hide over there on the spikes. That's more the Mothula we've all come to know and love, isn't it?
You know, I'd like to call Beer a chicken for not really going headfirst into Moth, but that would be too easy of a pun considering he is using the chicken sprite.
A little too on the nose, maybe?
A little too obvious. That red potion already coming in handy. Looked like he was about to take a hit from Moth, but actually avoided. Should be getting close and gets him down. Nicely done, Beer.
And AFG appears to have had some magic troubles there in the Gibdo hallway. I'm going to have to go back through and magic back up and have another run at it.
And on Beer's side, Moth drops the lamp, so now we have logical Mountain access.
Huzzah! Logical mountain access early in
Er,
an inverted seed. That never happens either. I hope everybody is ready for the wonderful and fun game Dances with Lionels.
Oh boy, I know I'm looking forward to it. And seeing that compass on the bridge chest here tells us that there is one item left that is going to be locked behind the big chest. So if our runners get that big key, that'll be interesting to see if they end up routing that ever. As Beard, before going to the mountain, is going to go ahead and check Stumpy and more than likely farm some rupees from the arrow game.
That's a nice way to play at least twice. Go ahead and get yourself some money, because we do still have chest game outstanding in Village of Outcasts in addition to all of those other cash money checks. You don't usually think about the fact that, well, I might not have money when I walk into Village of Outcasts of all things, but it's a whole lot more common in inverted seeds.
Now, does he be bold and do the 99 strats?
Yeah, he might give it a go, knowing that I'm on comms.
Oh, no, I'm going to have to call him a chicken yet again for not doing it. Maybe he'll do it on the second round if he hangs around.
And AFG is biting the dust on Mothula, unfortunately, and is going to go ahead and just continue on with play. Has decided that something is here that he needs. When, in fact, at least for the moment, it is something that he could sequence break around.
In the meantime, Beard did try to do the 99 strats and utterly failed, so you might have to show him how it's done, mind you.
I don't know, I think my win percentage on that is maybe 33 tops.
Better than his 0.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but that's fair. AFG going to have to re-magic again here, while Beer is going to show us what is on the dig game. You have to wonder how the chicken even holds that shovel. Second bottle.
Yeah, seeing the animation with the chicken and the shovel is actually pretty funny to me.
Really, the entire chicken animation is pretty good. The walking down where it just kind of swaps back and forth there, and then when you're walking normally to one direction to the other, it looks like it's, oh, the chicken has been hit and is running away. Ah, so Baris are in high value. That's a little bit of a help for AFG, but it seems like he's trying to hold on to a lot of his magic here, and I don't know that it's really helping him.
Yeah, he was able to get a good job there to manipulate them so that he was able to only use 3 fire rod shots there and save as much magic as possible. But yeah, the big thing is going to be trying to get this Mothula fight done again. 4 heart Mothula fighter sword, limited fire rod shots, not exactly the easiest fight the game has to offer.
It looks like he's managed to build up an entire stock of 7 fire rod shots, which is about as good as you can do, I think, and I'm not sure what that select buffer was for. That looked dangerous, is what it looked like. Needs to get 1 or 2 sword swipes in here, just going to go ahead and pre-equip that red potion for just in case. There it is. AFG with the moth down, going to be rewarded with the lamp.
Nicely done, AFG.
And the bunny sprite for the chicken is just wonderful, in case anybody is missing that over on Beer's side.
Yep, and another one of those joys in inverted routing. If you don't have the flute and you have to make your way up to the mountain and you save the old man, You pick them up, you go all the way to the top, you take the warp, you drop them all the way back down, and then you want to look at Spectacle Rock, and you have to go all the way back up. So it's aggravating to say the least when runners do this. He's gonna sneak a peek before just blind doing it, which I don't agree with. See, look, Quake, you want that. See, you should just jump down and grab it in the first place.
You wanted this thing, you knew you wanted this thing, you always did.
Unless I am missing something, mind you, the only thing that we do have in Logic currently would be Super Bunny Cave. Any thoughts what we might have there?
Super Bunny Cave and the first check in Aga Tower. But yeah, between those three, I think we've about covered it. Unless, after Beer farmed his money, did he go back for chest game? I'm trying to make sure we don't forget checks.
He did not, actually. He did not do chess game yet. So yeah, so chess game is still something. But also keep in mind, first check in Aga Tower, the small keys are not shuffled, so it's just going to be small keys there.
Oh, that's right. I've been playing too much key sanity. You are not wrong there.
I would not be surprised, to be honest, if the logic shows that this is a Moon Pearl here, and that the logic says that you need to go to do Aga for Light World access.
Yeah, the other option though is to just do Aga, get your Light World access, and then go bunny walk to Kakariko Village and talk to the bottle vendor or something.
Or even Sick Kid. Sick Kid could possibly have the goods.
This is also true. So there are some options remaining, and it doesn't have to be Super Bunny Cave.
I'm hoping it's Flippers here. Send him to Ice Palace. No, we got Boots. And a mushroom.
That was a very red cave there. Boots and a mushroom.
It does put this one check in Hookshot Cave in Logic.
If Beer goes in, thinks about it, life's up, leaves, sees that, yes, he wanted that Quake medallion after all, or at least theoretically he did. It would be hilarious if we had a Cane of Samaria here in the Bonkable Chest Footcock Cave. That'd be pretty good. Oh, okay. Well, see, the AFG knows what's up. I told you. Inverted Specialist right there.
Inverted Specialist and Hover Specialist, as Beer does a nice hover to get 50 bucks. And I cannot believe he even learned the shadow method on that to figure out where he had to bonk there to get to that chest. See if we can get this last one here in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, the first two hovers didn't really pay out, and this one, a little added safety. A full heart container is not a bad get, although it is a bit of a time expenditure. Hovering not always the quickest trick in the book.
You're electing to save and quit. He's gonna go ahead and he's gonna check bottle vendor. Now here's gonna be the interesting thing. All signs point to the fact that this is Aga required in order to get to the Light World, but we do have the possibility of doing a Kern jump to get to West Dark World, where you can get to the pod area, Catfish, where there could be possibly a glove, maybe a hammer, although albeit highly unlikely. We'll see what he decides to do when he gets this Moon Pearl here.
The possibility of that sequence break does exist. It's just really a question of what he wants to do, and given that the save and quit didn't come out, I think we may be seeing that sequence break. Actually, I think rather than the Kern jump, what he's going to do here is set up a water walk out of Skull Woods.
Yeah, that is true. With the boots, this makes this a lot easier here to do. All you gotta do is just bonk on the tree, walk around the hole, set up a water walk, and simple as that.
Yep, stay away from the pit. As soon as you get pit state again, you'll lose that water walk, but Beer has avoided that particular pitfall, to turn a phrase. And there we are, easy peasy.
If I didn't know any better, I thought that homemade beer was AFG in this case, because it looks like he's going to be the one that's ultimately going to believe in Pod.
And see, you were ragging on Beer just a minute ago about checking the Spectacle Rock Cave before just jumping in, and AFG did the same thing.
Cowards.
Well, Beer is a chicken. I don't know what to say about the Koopa, though. Are Koopas chickens in the grand scheme of things?
Oh no, he looks pretty cool to me until he gets red mail, and then I know how much AFG really loves that. We get a big key
There's
here
one of
from
those big
Catfish to Eastern Palace. That's actually a really good find right there.
One of those things that's nice to have before you even get into the light world. It's one less thing to worry about. Now, if you can also find a bow so that you can just single dip that dungeon, you're generally going to be a little happier. Oh, the possibility exists that that is the remaining pendant dungeon, and that both of our runners won't have any desire to go there at all. We shall have to wait and see.
As Beer is going to go ahead and check what's on the pyramid ledge, AFG is actually going to go ahead and complete Castle Tower, which, to be honest, I really do not mind this play. We got a cape here on pyramid ledge here. But even if Beer does happen to find, say, the second glove or a hammer here to make logical light world access, with the inverted mode here with Ambrosia, Castle Tower is actually vanilla Ganon's tower here, and Ganon's tower is actually the top of Hyrule Castle, where Castle Tower is. So in the event that AFG does happen to find the mirror, he'd be able to have a really easy time just to finish off just to get to Ganon's tower just from a save and quit in the light world. So even if what Beer does here actually pays off, I do like AFG's play here ultimately in the spectrum of things when it comes to the end game.
It is one of those inverted things, and it's easy to guarantee someone who plays as much inverted as he does, AFG is well aware of that fact.
Now here's the true question. Are we bow locked in Pod?
I'd say yes.
We're currently not. That's
okay.
A solid start. There's just something really mesmerizing about this chicken just going back and forth when it dashes.
Pod continuing to pay out in keys as it does, while AFG is off to see the wizard.
It is important to note that I don't believe AFG actually went ahead and did Super Bunny Cave, so he has no boots and no mushroom. So by the time that he does get into the light world, if he wanted to turn into mushroom to see what that was going to have, that's one less check he's going to be able to make. As we find Samaria on Beer's side.
Interesting, so that is front of TR access for homemade beer, I believe? Because, have I just completely lost my mind, or was that not Quake for entry?
No, that was Quake for entry. He does have the front of Turtle available for him. As Beer looks like he's going to do Potion Glitch here to make the mimics, or to alter the camera here. So you can move the mimics in a certain way, get them off screen, and make the door magically open just like that.
Convenient little sequence break. We'll see if it pays off for him. Yet another small key. Imagine that, right? It's Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and then imagine using a red potion and then just having to take a death warp. As we get a master sword. Nice find for beer. AFG also doing the tangle with Aga as he was spinning out of control. I appreciate that from AFG there. That was very nicely done.
Mildly surprised that AFG did not even stop off to say hello to the uncle, then going straight out into the main hub of the Light Overworld here, going to bypass the Light World bomb shop.
Again, if he ends up finding the mirror, assuming he finds the mirror in the Light World here at any point soon, if it does become important, he'll be able to save and quit in the Light World pretty easily, and be able to see what Uncle and Front of Escape have been hiding all this time.
Big key only worth the compass, and back here in the dark, 20 bucks and a chest to be named later. AFG's got a big key to Thieves Town, though. That may be a little more interesting. And a second sword of his own. That one's even in logic.
Imagine logic.
And just the map and the small key in the Dark U basement, so pretty sure we have an item on the boss, but with no bow, Homemade Beer is not going to be able to acquire it. And the sequence break, while it has paid out in an additional sword, does not seem to have allowed Homemade Beer to dodge the Aga play.
Oh, he could continue the sequence break if he wants to do TR.
He can go into TR. That would be the interesting play. Come on, Beer, don't bore us. Thank you. There we go.
There we go. That's the memer I've come to know and love.
That's what everybody out there in Twitch chat wanted to see. Continue the sequence break. Carry it all the way.
FG's going to go ahead and set up a fake flipper here. Nicely done. Another part of the inverted side of things, because some checks here that would require a mirror. Lake Hylia Island, which AFG will be nearby, but we don't know if he's going to actually get the item there. Ends up having a ramp or basically a dock for him to be able to just go up to and get other checks like Graveyard Ledge, Cave 45, Bombos Tablet. Have easy access so that the requirement of the mirror, because this is inverted, is basically null and void. So makes things a little bit easier. It'll be interesting to see if there is anything of importance here on Lake Hylia Island that he does want to get. We'll see what he chooses to do once we approach that.
Likely to do the I Spy and then have to make a choice. Is it important enough to grab now, or do you wait? I don't think $5 is important enough to grab ever.
Oh, come on, AFG, you gotta get that money! And with inverted, whirlpools are your best friend. It gets you to transports to different places pretty easily, as he takes this whirlpool up here and he gets to the east of Sanctuary, where he can do the back of escape and the aforementioned Graveyard Ledge, which he has access to without the mirror.
Yeah, while AFG is showing off pretty much all of the tricks in the inverted and cross keys player toolboxes, Beer has gone 3 for 3 on small keys in the front of Turtle Rock. Make that 4 for 4.
Sure. Or
good joke, video game. Good joke.
Unless he magically pulls out the Turtle Rock Big Key here in Lava Chest, this would be the end of the run for him in Turtle Rock here.
At this point, would you doubt it?
At this point, I'm really hoping for it. Speaking of the mirror, AFG has just found it in the back of Escape, along with the big key to Ice Palace.
I was going to have a better laugh if that was the big key to Turtle Rock, notwithstanding that I was hoping for a vanilla big key to Turtle Rock here for homemade beer. But, you know, Ice Palace, nice to have before you go there. And that is a dungeon item for Turtle Rock, but it's not the one beer needed.
That is a pretty disgusting front of Turtle Rock right there.
Oh no, there's the big key to Turtle Rock.
Wow, there it is. That's actually pretty funny right there.
There's still a little that AFG needs to do between here and there, but when he finally gets around to making that TR play, he is going to be able to do it in one go. Plus or minus having an ice rod for the boss, of course.
Ice Rod's just on Laser Bridge. We all know that to be true.
Classic vacation home for the ice rod, except no substitutes.
And we find Flippers here in the Lost Wood Thief drop down here for AFG, as he's going to be eventually making his way to Kakariko Village here. We're going to get a tree pull here. No, we're not going to get a tree pull because I don't believe that tree pull exists in Inverted. And we have Ether, so the chances of Meyer is getting a little bit better with that, which is funny. Beer has the broken Samaria out of Logic, and AFG actually has the way to access Meyer with that mirror.
Yeah, and that tree pole may exist in Inverted normally, but you would need to not have Aga Light World access. Killing Aga is what kills a lot of the normal tree poles that you're used to. Here we go, mirror block deletion shenanigans from AFG.
A nice 300 rupees there, along with another 50. He has Zora money, should that become important.
Looks like Beer's trying to take advantage of all of those hearts. Knows where both of them are in Circle of Pots there. Oh, there's the hammer. So, you know how you've been wanting our runners to go to Ice Palace for a little while? Well, AFG looks to be in pretty good shape to logically do some damage there now.
Logic, who would have imagined?
I'll still be curious with this mirror, and he's got that big key to Green Pendant Thieves Town. Oh, the mirror's coming out. Yeah, I think that might be on AFG's mind as well.
Yup, you're right here in the area. Just go ahead and mirror. You got the hammer. You have the Thieves Town Big Key. You have the knowledge that this is Green Pendant, which may or may not be important, but there could be something here. So he's going to go ahead and finish this out, and we'll see what we got to find here.
The mildly unfortunate thing from AFG's perspective is, again, he's left behind those boots, and this is one of those dungeons with a bunch of long straightaways like this one that he's having to slowly walk down right now. This is one of those places where you really want the boots to not have to lose a bunch of time to an opponent who happens to have found them already. Now, given that this is a pendant, it is possible, although depending on what comes out of here, perhaps unlikely, that Beer could skip this entirely, in which case AFG is in a little double spot of trouble there. Not only is he doing it, but he's doing it slowly, and his opponent might not do it. But imagine believing in the green pendant, right?
Green Pendant's on the way to Eastern Palace, which is on the way to Pod, which I know how much AFG wants to believe in Pendant Pod, so I could see his line of logic there. Beer goes ahead and gets himself into... Yep, Beer gets himself in the light world. He will go ahead and see what's on Uncle here, because he cares about how poor old Uncle is doing here as he's passed out trying to save Zelda, but just did not get too far, as there's another sword.
Okay, so as soon as Homemade Beer wanders down by Mini Moldorm Cave, he's going to have Butter Sword. And it seems like the two swords that are still outstanding for AFG now, he may not see for a little while. One of them depends on how much he wants to believe in Pendant Pod and sequence breaks, and the other one is at a check that he very decidedly chose to skip.
Interesting strat dropping a bomb there. That was actually quite impressive. I like that.
That looked like my kind of strat where I think I've quick swapped the right item and I haven't. That's fine, I stole his AFG bomb toss so he can steal that one from me. It's fine.
Yeah, so as you mentioned it earlier with Beer having the boots, but also with him sequence breaking Pod, and yes, we did have the Canis to Maria, but it may very well be something in which AFG is able to single dip it or do it in a little bit in logic, and also with the TR play. The gap between these runners is going to get a little bit closer solely for the fact that Beer is going to have these boots for a substantially longer time. So definitely be interesting to see what the routing that Beer has in the light world to be able to get the checks in a very efficient manner to try to get a little bit closer to AFG as he's about to tackle on blind here.
Has that safety cane out for just in case. Doesn't look like Beer found anything particularly noteworthy there in the front of Hyrule Castle. And just like that, blind is down, and not really much to write home about from that back of Thieves play. Now that green pendant is still outstanding, so it's not a dead play yet, but that is a little unfortunate from AFG's perspective.
Hey, we're a third of the way for being able to pull up pedestal.
Yeah, nobody ever pulls ped, and when they do, they have frame drops and nobody gets to see it anyway. That's how this works, right? I've seen that clip.
All too well.
Okay, so boots not helpful at Bonk Rocks, just 20 bucks.
I missed it on AFG's side. I don't believe he checked Lumberjack, if I'm not mistaken, or if he did, I ended up missing it. Beer, whatever it is up there, is going to be able to get it, if it is important.
French vanilla bottle there in the back of the tavern, and I believe you are correct. I don't think that AFG made that particular check, but Beer is certainly going to be able to cover us on that front.
Royale confirming our suspicions that AFG did not check Lumberjack. So, and again, thank you very much to Royale with Cheese, who is doing a fantastic job tracking and making sure that myself and Mindium are in line here.
It always helps to have somebody covering your 6 just in case, because, well, you know, everybody makes a mistake from time to time, and some of us, like myself, might make them a little more than most. There's Beer getting that big key to Torrock, probably thinking, well, you know, that would have been nice 5 minutes ago.
AFG also showing us another one of the tricks with inverted. You do not need the mitts in order to be able to check the smith here, as the smith just gives us 20 bucks here. With the way the inverted works, you could just go ahead and mirror in the library spot, pick up the smith, mirror back, return the smith, and then at the same time we can go ahead and do hammer pegs and purple chest. So this is a good display from AFG's side on how to efficiently do these checks when you do have the mirror.
Homemade beer continuing to not blind check things is going to leave that heart container behind forever.
Game. We did get a very quick map check. I believe I saw what red crystal on Hera. I might be mistaken. Was the other pendant Eastern Palace?
I have to admit that I missed it, but again, that's what our wonderful tracker is for, and if she happens to have missed it, well, we've got everybody out there in chat land to back us up too. Looks like the confirmation is coming in as AFG finds mitts in K45, another one of those inverted changes where you can just walk right in, because normally it's a mirror check.
Yeah, and with those mitts, the only things that the mitts actually hard lock is King's Tomb and inverted. Other than that, having mitts does not open up a plethora of checks like such an open or a standard mode does here. So for anybody thinking that, you know, hey, that does a lot of stuff that's good for us, well, not necessarily. Just gives us one extra check, but it does actually give us an easier time on Death Mountain as far as to get to the Light World, where we could take the Turtle Rock portal and do it that way.
Convenience on Death Mountain for changing worlds, convenience over in the village for changing worlds. It's nice to have, but usually not a hard requirement in inverted.
The other thing, too, worth noting is the fact that because Desert Palace is a crystal today, that book that AFG does have is actually hard required in order to access Desert. We do not have the ability to flute and mirror or do anything. That's a nice shovel on Bombo Stavel, by the way. That's actually quite funny.
That's a bit of an inconvenient place for that. You've just gone by that location. You have to backtrack several screens to get to it. And it's inverted, so it's not as though you can work that in with some kind of a mirror while you're carrying purple chest. Not that AFG would be able to do that anyway, having already turned it in, but yeah, it's just a kind of an inconvenient location for that shovel all the way around.
This is going to become very interesting too, as Beer is going to be doing his finish off his Light World checks here. If he does choose to go to the desert area with that out of logic Samaria that he does have, well, it's actually, I guess you could say it's in logic now, but when he acquired it was out of logic. He'll be able to go right ahead and do all of Misery Mire right then and there. And seeing as it's a crystal, gotta get it done.
That's going to be another one of those conveniences Beer gains from having made that early sequence break. He's put it back into logic since then, but yeah, that really does seem to be the difference in the match, at least for the moment. Now, we've still got some outstanding things that need to be found before this wraps up, have no doubt about that. Swamp Palace is a crystal, so we are not going to see the glory of the end-game hover seed at Moldworm 2. Still, we've got both of our bow dungeons being pendants, so maybe a little Mimic Clip sequence breakage in GT could be in our future. That's a possibility that exists, but Desert Palace Big Key still outstanding, so yeah. There's a bit we still need yet, the ever-present possibility of the Ice Rod being in a terrible location. Sounds like rando to me, Ed.
brought in a terrible location. That's never happened. As
And Ed,
beer,
you're gonna have to look away.
yeah, I
I'm
gotta
sorry.
look away here. I'm sorry, I gotta look away. My DMB take over.
In point of fact, there was nothing to see there. Everything's fine here, Ed. You can come back now.
Oh, my eyes, my eyes, my eyes.
$20 on Desert Torch, so AFG not going to feel the sting of the lack of boots from that particular check.
Imagine actually finding all 3 medallions. That's actually pretty amazing. See, as AFG does find Bombos in Desert Palace, knowing that the last item is going to be on land mode, but because we don't have a big key, or actually, yeah, because we don't have a big key, we cannot complete it.
AFG mirrors over, sees the cape, says, you know what, I'm actually good here, and is now going to get into this front of escape play. Going to get that 3rd sword, which I had thought maybe 10 minutes ago was going to be off the table for him for at least a little while, but here we go, just about to get it.
Yeah, and just the way that things are going with this, again, because we know where the boots are, it's just going to prolong AFG from going ahead and getting those boots from Super Bunny Cave. He's probably going to try to hold off until he possibly has Hookshot or all the pieces of the puzzle to Turtle Rock, but he has plenty of more checks here that he can do, including going into Pod, which he will find a Samaria, but the longer that homemade beer does have these boots, it's going to end up being more of an advantage to him.
He's just stacking up little bits of time, screen by screen, where he gets to do these 4+ tile dashes, and AFG is spending the whole time walking. Oh, so Beer, you weren't willing to blind check Lumberjack, but the checkerboard cave heart container is not a bridge too far for you? I see how it is. Tell me, Ed, which one of those feels more like quality fluff to you?
Well, he should have collected it all. I mean, shame on him for not collecting all the hearts.
AFG is certainly doing a better job of that, seems to have a couple of heart container lead, and is in Ice Palace now. Did not walk into the room with a sword charge, having to play with these pin gators just a little bit to get the job done, but Tempered Sword really does make life a whole lot easier in so many ways. And this is another one of those little bits of time that AFG is going to give away. Without the Cane of Samaria, is going to have to go the old-fashioned Hot New Tech circa 2017 route. And gonna go with the Ice Palace Bomb Jump.
As Beer looks like he's going to be making his way to Ice Palace as well. Another one of those inverted things. This shop here in particular, in Inverted, actually sells blue potions, where normally, and again, in an open mode, it just has the red goo for, I believe, 150 rupees. So that right there is really good game knowledge for homemade beer. Most people think that the only way that you can get the blue potion is through the magic shop. In this case, you do not need that.
First try, easy game for AFG there, Ice Palace Bomb Jump. wouldn't say that the seed has been too terribly linear. One of those kind of artifacts of Inverted is that once you get into the light world, you can kind of go everywhere, but here we are closing in on the 50-minute mark, and our runners are in the same dungeon at the same time.
And as you had mentioned it before, because Homemade Beer does have Samaria here and the boots, I would not be surprised to see Homemade Beer actually get ahead here while he's in Ice Palace doing the same dungeon.
AFG is overcomplicating this trick.
It looks like this looks like the way that I used to do it until you showed me the easiest method possible. All you have to, yeah, there you go. That's all you don't even have to move, AFG. Just spin speed right from there, look into the left, and let the bomb go, and that's it. Well done.
Yeah, all you have to do is be on the bottom to the right of that block. The rest of it does not matter. Your horizontal position at that point is immaterial to the trick, just your vertical position. So if you can do the spin slash setup, you can set that bomb jump up every time. Slow motion hammer dash down Hell's hockey rink, and then out Beer goes.
I have never heard that terminology before. Hell's hockey rink. I like that.
Well, look at it.
You should copyright it.
It's very
It
clearly
is.
a
It legit
200 by
is.
80, and it's got kind of two separate defensive zones with those fire bars going. Yeah.
Are you saying the Penn Gators are like glorified Zambonis?
Pretty much. Either that or they're the players, one of the two.
Nah, somebody's got to keep that ice in pristine shape.
And as you surmised with those boots and that icebreaker, it does look like Homemade Beer may have gained a couple of steps here over the course of this Ice Palace play. Was definitely the second runner in, but looks like he's also trying to hang on to sword beams here to make a little easier time of the boss fight. While AFG with that half magic and the Bombos medallion is much less concerned with that, so we gotta have them dropping in pretty close to simultaneously here.
Imagine at about the 52-minute mark, the runners are in the exact same spot, fighting the exact same boss. This is good to watch.
Beer with the Fire Rod shot dupes, while AFG using Bombos. Beer now out of magic though, so going to have to go to those Tempered Sword slashes and spins, while AFG's got a few shots left over, but he's expending them in ways that do not progress the fight. Just a hair sooner on AFG's side. What was that, about a second and a half between heartbeat sketches?
Pretty much, that's what I counted there, is we get simultaneous boss fights completed here, as AFG gets his third crystal done, while Homemade Beer gets his second.
Now, that's their second crystal apiece. That one in the middle there is that green pendant from Thieves Town, which is a potentially outstanding advantage that AFG has.
Oh, don't we know that pet is going to be required for, I don't know, hookshot?
That sounds absolutely disgusting, and I'm here for it.
I mean, that's why we're here on comms, because we are nothing more than glorified memers who want to see the biggest meme in Vrosia Seed known to man, so looking forward to it.
Looks like Homemade Beer wants to check that shovel. The best thing that came out of Waterfall Fairy there was the fact that the refill is green potions. The double 10 sticks was not nearly so interesting to AFG, I wouldn't think.
Interesting to see that AFG, oh, if we find a flute on Zora's Ledge, that'll help with mobility. Be curious if AFG actually walks out of here. He had the opportunity to mirror and check Catfish, which we know is the Eastern Palace Big Key. We also know it's a pendant, so it may or may not be important, but, you know, if you're me and you're hoping for a pet play, of course it's important.
Well, meanwhile, Beer is in a position here with this mirror out. I'm wondering if we're going to get a dive into Hookless Swamp.
That's what I like to see. Continue with the memes, Beer, as AFG is actually, after getting that flute, he is going to go ahead and walk out of here. Let's see if he does go ahead and mirror to get the big key here. Big key that probably may not be important, but you never know.
Yeah, early map there in Swamp Palace for homemade beer. That's one potential item off the table. One more thing locked behind having the hook shot. One of the fun parts of League is having the representatives of the teams and their teammates here in chat saying, "Oh no, what is my teammate doing? What madness is this?" Of course, these matches are held on a 10-minute delay. This is madness from 10 minutes ago that we only now get to see.
Hey, we never know. This could end up being the play of the game right here. If hook shot is here or something that leads to the hook shot. Yeah, I mean, I've seen and been a part of crazier things, so, you know, can't fault Beer here, although I'll question him. We do have a big key. It's a Tower of Hera. Interesting. We can now logically do that. Maybe the hook shot's in the big chest there.
Certainly a logical requirement, pending the positioning, the location of the hook shot. It could be a hard required big key to Tower of Hera.
I think Homemade Beer is just doing this because he wants to have something to talk about during the interviews afterwards. Outside of the sequence breaking and trying as hard as he could not to do Aga 1, he just wanted to add a little extra content for us afterwards. I can appreciate that.
I think maybe he just wants to have fun. Imagine having fun playing Rando.
Yeah, let me tell you, speaking of fun, I mean, for anybody that's watching and for anybody that's actually enjoying the restream here of Homemade Beer and Average Frustrated Gamer, first off, give them a follow. They're two absolutely fantastic runners here who are putting on a great show for you guys. But as mentioned by Mindium, the game here and the whole community as a whole brings such a great atmosphere of fun, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And I'm happy to be calling this match here with my good friend Mindium here, as we hope that we're putting on a good show for you guys here. So again, give these guys a follow, give our tracker a follow. Don't necessarily need to give me a follow because I just meme and I do all the same stuff, so, you know, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, I feel like in proper order it would be the tracker who has the actually difficult job, then the runners who have to play the game, then there's the two of us. All we have to do is talk about it. That's easy. Anybody can do this gig.
Oh, don't forget about the restreamer, Diesel, who did a fantastic job getting this up and going here for us to be able to do this. We legit probably have the easiest job. And on top of it, we have Twitch chat, we have trackers that'll go ahead and correct us once we're wrong. I mean, this is just fantastic. This community as a whole is great. Which, by the way, the Swamp House play did not pan off with a random hook shot in Swamp, so rip that dream.
Yeah, and Beer seems to still not be interested in what his teammate was suggesting in chat, that fully clearable mire play is not necessarily top of mind for homemade beer at the moment. Now, speaking of making plays, we've had this big key for quite some time. The bow is still not in evidence, and Average Frustrated Gamer is in Pendant Eastern Palace.
My only logical thing that Beer is trying to do is that he's trying to get these checks done in the event that he does happen to walk across the Desert Palace Big Key, so that he can combo off both Mire and Desert at the same time. But seeing as we have not come across that Desert Palace Big Key, we don't know where it could be right now, so we'll have to keep digging. Here, looks like he's going to set up the little water walking thing even with the flippers. Looks like he is going to go ahead and check the Zora area. Can go ahead and pay off Zora 500 rupees for literally nothing. But also, too, if he follows through, be able to get his flute. As we're going to check, actually, the man under the bridge first.
You know, there's probably a nice breeze under here, although I am always a little surprised. The fire does look a little smoky. I'm kind of shocked, honestly, that the guards never noticed that this guy's down here.
He poses no threat to them, come on. That man under the bridge is actually really the real hero of Hyrule.
The last hero of Hyrule having a very well-earned vacation.
Exactly. It's his time to rest and, you know, enjoy his time, and that's where he decided to be at. So can't fault him for that.
I do not think AFG found anything worth writing home about in that Eastern Palace play, unfortunately, and that's an interesting... Oh, alright, because he wants to go get Kiki and not spend a bomb to go back through his portal. I get it. That's smart. Again, this is why he specializes in modes like this, and I don't.
Yeah, but it's going to be at this point that he's going to be making the same checks that Beer has, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Beer has basically checked everything that AFG has at this point too, with the exception of completing Thieves Town. So, Thieves Town and Eastern, which did not amount to anything whatsoever. So at this moment, depending on what Beer does, I'm going to have to kind of give him the nod here as far as being a little bit ahead at the time.
It would appear that he has that little advantage in the back pocket, but we are still looking for the hookshot, the ice rod, and again, maybe the sequence break around the bow happens, but you probably hope to just find it. So we're at least 2 and possibly 3 items from go mode, especially if one of those other 2 is behind a bow on one of those 2 bosses.
Ed Dream is still alive. I don't believe anybody went ahead and checked it, if I'm not mistaken, because we got that book from Sick Kid. So it kind of made it a little awkward to go ahead and check it, since we already had defeated Skull Woods, so we just couldn't mirror out and check it there either. So, yeah, the Pet Dream is alive.
Not sure how you're going to mirror out from Skull Woods and check it in inverted, Ed. I don't think it works.
You'd be in the light world, then you can check it, and then you can mirror it to Skull Woods.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you can do it in reverse order like that. That'll work.
Which, by the way, I think Beer is actually going to give us our pet check here.
Would be really interesting if this says boing, 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 or I'm the cold rod, I make things freeze.
Oh, I want to see the big key to desert here. I forgot what the terminology is.
Yeah,
the
I'm
big
not
key
sure what
to...
the big key to the Palace of Sand or something.
Oh my
I am
god.
the
It
cold
is the
rod, I
ice
make
rod.
things freeze.
Oh
Hello,
boy.
ice rod. Okay, so that thing that I was saying where the bow could be required, but if we could avoid having to do the bosses of these 2 bow pendant dungeons, then we wouldn't necessarily need it, and you could sequence break around the requirement for it in Ganon's Tower. Well, throw that right out the window. We have ourselves an all dungeon seed.
Oops. All dungeons.
And all of a sudden, the clear of Thieves Town is not something that's going to come back and bite average frustrated gamer. The only real problem he still has outstanding is the fact that he's now been bootsless compared to homemade beer for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, the boots disadvantage, and if I was beer, I would avoid Eastern Palace as long as possible until we get that bow. Seeing as that it's not in Eastern Palace, you know, he would be able to get that and hopefully make a single dip into Eastern Palace. So he'll be able to single dip dungeons, whereas AFG hasn't, to just kind of make the difference between the runners just that much more.
Yeah, at this point, what AFG really needs is to land on wherever that bow is before beer does, and I'm wondering if maybe that location is further into TR? Because AFG, lacking that knowledge of Ice Rod on PED, is probably more likely to go into Turtle Rock here in the near future, and if the only available bow outside of GT is further in TR, that's the location that Homemade Beer is most likely not to go back to until he's forced.
Yeah, I could not agree more with that. Yeah, AFG's gonna have. Yeah, he's got to be looking at the mountain at this point between Turtle Rock and Super Bunny Cave, is saying something's got to be up here. I know he's probably trying to hold off on it until he gets the hook shot, but again, we don't know where that is right now at the moment. So this is turned into a, for lack of better words, a topsy-turvy seed for our runners.
Indeed, and now you can also say that maybe Misery Mire becomes a little bit of a trap for Homemade Beer. If the bow is not in there, if the bow and specifically also the hookshot are not in there, he could spend a lot of time clearing that out, where AFG, not having those boots, has not been able to make his way in and could avoid it, potentially.
Speaking of the mountain, AFG is making his way up there now, and he's probably gonna get those. He's gonna get those boots from Super Bunny Cave, and I don't know. If I was him, I'd almost feel like, oof, I probably am a little bit behind just because I got these boots a little bit later.
Yeah, that's one of those item locations where you're going to see it and think, okay, well, I have to hope that my opponent did exactly the same thing I did, because otherwise, he's had these for better than half the seed already. It's always normal for a rando runner to think, yeah, I'm even or behind, I'm never ahead, but when you see something like boots in a location like this, you have to think that I'm behind. Homemade Beer scouting that Mire information, going to go ahead and check the 2 items here in the Mire Shack. We've already seen the hover here in Hookshot Cave from Homemade Beer. The best thing that's available out of hovering is just a full hard container.
No. The best thing that came out from hovering was the swag that he had, the confidence and the entertainment that he showed to the entire chat here.
Alright, that checks out. So, Homemade Beer now into Misery Mire, and AFG opening up Turtle Rock. This is going to, likely at least, be where the game hinges. Which one of these dungeons has either the bow or the hookshot or both? We do know that Turtle Rock is doing its best Palace of Darkness impersonation this seed, and that AFG is going to be laden down with a lot of small keys here in the early going, so early returns going to be on Homemade Beer's side more likely than not.
Also worth noting too the fact that because Beer did actually make the early Swamp Palace dive, Homemade Beer has the Tower of Harabiki, whereas AFG does not. And depending on what is in the bag, if assuming that hook shot is not there, average frustrated gamer will not be able to go far up into Tower of Hera to see what else might be there. You'll be able to get 2 checks out of it, possibly 3, depending on where the small key is. But yeah, I mean, this is just the way things turned out. This is just looking like Beer is just getting a little bit further ahead as we go.
It's really tough to say, and it could turn right back over in that topsy-turvy manner if the hookshot is in here, because then AFG could absolutely just sequence break right on around. AFG is going to go ahead and make use of the mirror now rather than slogging the slow way through most of the remainder of those TR checks, just going to get into the light world and do the more convenient inverted way to get at them.
Yeah, convenience that we do have. Unfortunately, this is the part of inverted that I just that's such a big slug, is the fact that we have both hookshot, or we both have Mimic Cave and Spiral Cave available to us, in which if we check those things prior to actually doing the laser bridge, it kind of requires us to go up and down and up and down and up and down this Light World Death Mountain just a few extra times. Just kind of drives me a little insane. There's our Desert Palace Mickey, which is one of the items that we did need, so good find for AFG.
Certainly a convenience. Let's see if this continues to pay out for him. There's the bow. He doesn't know that he needs that yet, but he needs that. Yep, and this does look like it's going to be a lot of this up and down the mountain thing. There are a number of reasons why this is not my favorite mode in the randomizer, but this one is pretty high up there on the list. The routing of Death Mountain is, let's just say, not compelling gameplay to me.
It's something. It's the rest of the inverted. Personally, I like it. I know. As far as the community as a whole, people like it. People dislike it. You know, people are free to their opinions and everything. But yeah, going to your point here, this is the up and down nature is just brutal. By the way, we did see a piece of heart in the big chest and a map there in Crystal Roller Room there, which this laser bridge has to be loaded with items. I'd be curious if the hookshot is there.
While we're wondering that, Homemade Beer has pulled down a crystal from Misery Mire, but does not appear to have gained anything else of note.
Oh no, big key to Swamp Palace. Hookshot could be camping there. Or
Or
there.
it could just be in the very next chest. Oh, here, you could go get it in its vanilla location, or you could get it right here.
So between the runners, if I'm not mistaken, we are actually in no mode. We know where everything is. It's just everybody between Homemade Beer knowing the knowledge of where the ice rod is, which again is kind of comical, and AFG having both the bow and the hook shot. We know where everything is that we need to be able to complete the video game.
Yeah, Homemade Beer is going to be getting into that go mode state probably sooner than AFG. It looks like AFG is going to spend some more time on the mountain here, making a few additional checks. It's tough to say what else is going to come out of this, but without that knowledge of Pet at this point, he's very much on the clock because Homemade Beer is going to be right on top of these checks unless he gets down to Laser Bridge, gets that hookshot, and decides to go ahead and immediately hit Swamp, rather than going around the outside here and picking up that bow in Paradox. He did perform that full clear of Mire, which is time that AFG pretty clearly did need, but AFG is slowly frittering that away.
Yeah, and until AFG actually sees what's on pedestal, every dungeon that he's gonna do is just gonna end up being him full clearing until he gets that ice rod. So yeah, the sooner he gets the ped, the better that he knows, unless he just YOLOs it, which I would not put it past him.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate because he is going to continue checking these things that he checked, going down and back up to that basement cage, picking up this 50 rupees. He could absolutely just be mashing his way directly to the boss here, but again, that book was just in slightly the wrong location for him, and he did not choose to backtrack to make the check.
Yeah, when he activated that flute, he had a golden opportunity. That was about as good of an opportunity he was going to possibly have, but yeah, it just I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he decided to do Thieves Town, which I do not fault him whatsoever. Outside of that, he never really had a good excuse to go ahead and check what the pet is, because with Homemade Beer's side, he went ahead and checked that just to see what it was if he had to do Thieves Town, since it was right there. And yeah, it turned out to be a very important piece of information that he knew.
Interesting. In Homemade Beer, rather than getting down to Laser Bridge and getting the hookshot, found the bow and is now at least temporarily avoiding the hook, so going to make a few of these checks that AFG made.
I mean, I can almost see him actually not doing Laser Bridge, because with the bow, he's able to finish off Eastern and Palace of Darkness. He may just be thinking that maybe Hookshot's one of those checks, and if it's not, then, you know, hey, so be it. I gotta do Turtle Rock anyways. It may cost him a little bit, but I could see an avenue where he does just decide not to look at it, even though it's right there.
I feel like that goes a little too far against the grain of play for Homemade Beer, which has been very largely indicated by high efficiency.
high efficiency and sequence breaking. I love it. As Moldorm wins round 1 against Homemade Beer here.
Well, that really is the whole point of sequence breaking. It's being able to do things in a more efficient manner. Ah, cool shirt, Roy. Cool shirt.
Taking the first step to being a coward. I like that. I like that, AFG. I like that.
But Homemade Beer going to pull down another crystal here. Has a, what is that, 4 crystals to 3 lead, and they now both have that Thieves Town clear in hand. We may as well just start treating it like all dungeons. We've got a 5 to 4 dungeons advantage.
Oh, I could say it's a 6 to 5 dungeons advantage. You gotta count Agate Tower as one.
See, I'd like to rejoin that with towers aren't dungeons, but then there's Hera, so I can't. Video game devs, please, why did you name it Tower of Hera? Why couldn't it have been, you know, Spire of Hera or something?
By the way, it is important to note that Homemade Beer decided to duck out on Laser Bridge, so this will be additional checks that ultimately Beer is going to end up making before he makes his way back to Turtle Rock Laser Bridge for that hook shot of his.
And don't look now, but AFG is in roughly the right place. Now, he seems to be swapping to the wrong item, but he's headed in the right direction.
No, this is extremely important for him. This is a great play that he's going to look at this information and be like, oof, this turned into a seed.
And as soon as AFG presses Y here, I am the cold rod, I make things freeze. Average Frustrated Gamer is in go mode. Homemade Beer is not.
I think those sword slashes kind of indicate how much he appreciates what's on Ped right there.
Yeah, AFG doesn't know it, but that may have just saved his bacon, or whatever you would call that particular cut of meat from a Koopa. I guess if you can have both pig bacon and turkey bacon, you could have Koopa bacon, right? That checks out?
I see no reason why not.
Alright, Koopa bacon. We've got one. Probably just tastes like chicken.
When in doubt, everything tastes like chicken at this point.
You know, Ed, I have had the occasional conversation with Beer about your routing, and now I see his teammate from Beats from the East in chat here, Moolcharm, saying, Beer has no right to ask me about routing decisions ever.
That's why you got to be somebody like me that is very open about the fact that I just kind of do my own thing. There is no repetitiveness to me whatsoever. It's basically nobody knows how I'm going to route things, so nobody can criticize me because I just never do the same thing twice.
So what you're saying is your secretly obscure life form, you route for the halibut?
Pretty much. Pretty much. Oh, again, just looking ahead to what's got to be done here. Homemade Beer has yet to dive into Easter. Now, I know Average Frustrated Gamer went ahead and excuse me, he went ahead and cleared all the items in a separate trip. But until Homemade Beer actually goes to Laser Bridge, he's going to be making all the same checks that Average Frustrated Gamer made, so that time difference is going to be getting closer and closer here. So Yeah, this is going to turn out to be one heck of a finish here that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, what Beer Partisans really need to see here is Beer do these 2 bow dungeons, go pick up his ice rod, and just go deal with the fact that he's got Turtle Rock on the table at that point. Now how much of Pod did he already touch? Because obviously he's going to make these checks here in Easter Palace. And he does have a little bit of time to give.
He did all of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah.
So once he goes back into there, he could just go rush Helmassar. Yeah, I mean, by the time that Homemade Beer is going to be making all these checks, I would imagine that Average Frustrated Gamer is going to be well on his way to either pulling Ped or on his way to Swamp Palace. It kind of depends how he wants to do this. Knowing the fact that, again, GT is not in its vanilla location. It's actually on top of Hyrule Castle, so it's not like doing Turtle Rock absolutely last is the most important thing. But this is where efficiency and execution is really going to come into hand here to see who comes out on top here.
Yeah, I'm saying that Beer has that time to give because he has cleared Desert and he has cleared Mire. Now, AFG is going to go ahead and go mode Mire, and we'll be able to just run on through Desert as quickly as possible. So, the lead diminishes with every one of these additional checks that Homemade Beer makes, and at this point it's kind of tough to say which one of them is in the better position. AFG going for a very classic Magnet Hands 4 bomb 1 hammer strat there on the Helmasaur King. Mags was the first runner to put his team on the board in this league season when he took the first game of this Week 2 matchup against Homemade Beer's teammate Moogle Charm. And now AFG trying to make it a 2-game sweep of the week.
AFG came out on top, nobody would hear the end of that.
Not even AFG.
So for anybody that's possibly just joining us and seeing Average Frustrated Gamer going ahead and getting to Ped, even though we know what it is, we'll keep it a surprise as far as what's going to be up here. If you thought this item was trolly in most other situations, wait till you see what is here. What a glorious ice rod that is, but just absolutely glorious.
It practically buzzes with power. You can see the entire world lights up when you grab hold of that.
Too bad Ganon doesn't fear the almighty power of the ice rod.
Ganon has concerns of his own, I suppose. But AFG, now with all of the items in hand, just needs to go clear some dungeons, and then we do still have a GT Big Key hunt ahead of us. That is still locked in its vanilla dungeon in this mode. All of the other big keys are wild, but that one is not.
And not looking too far ahead as far as AFG's plan of routing here. I like this play of just doing Turtle Rock here. My guess is he would do Turtle Rock, then Misery Mire, then finish off Desert. Save and quit, and again, because we already completed Aga 1, once you save and quit, you hop on top of Castle Tower, which in this case is actually Ganon's tower entrance, so you don't have to do any fluting or walking or doing anything of that sort. So he's basically setting it up so that he save and quits in the light world in the most efficient, most efficient way possible, so that he can get to the Ganon's tower as fast as possible.
Yep, he's also going to have to pick up Swamp somewhere along that route, but he can get his light world access to set that up and then head over to the Desert Mire area afterward. AFG with the job done on Trinex. So here we go. We can start watching as the dungeons tick down. We are going with these very classic NMG style spin speed hammer strats on Helma. And then cancels it with quick dash, and the butter sword does the rest. Average frustrated gamer with 3 dungeons left to clear. Homemade beer with 2 dungeons left to clear. But homemade beer does still have to go get that ice rod. Still does have to find the hook shot.
Oh, but he wants to turn in that green pendant for the piece of heart. Oh, what a gamer. Even better, he never even checked to Saha's hut. I love it.
Casual 91 minutes, Saha's closet check.
For anyone wondering if that magic powder is going to distract homemade beer, no, he's already actually fake powdered with the mushroom in the cane of Samaria. So at this point, I kind of expect him to go ahead and pull pedestal for the ice rod, and more than likely finish off Turtle Rock, because I think, to be honest, I don't even know what else he actually has left. I mean, at this point, might as well just finish dungeons, but I'm pretty certain with homemade beer route, he has nothing left. I don't even know, the red crystals, I don't even know if Big Bomb is a possibility, in case he's thinking hook shots somewhere other than Laser Bridge, which we know where it is. Hopefully he just goes right to it.
Yeah, that was Skull Woods and Tower of Hera, I believe, so he does have access to the Pyramid Ferry if he wants to make that play, but I feel like once you pick up the Ice Rod, you definitely have to make that play up to TR, especially since he made the early play in and knows that all 4 of those small keys were in the front. The likelihood that the items are severely backloaded in that dungeon is very high, plus it is a crystal dungeon that you need to beat anyway. If you go anywhere else here, Beer, I don't know you anymore. You become a different person if that's not your play.
When it's all said and done with the virgins that our runners have, with the items that they got prior or after one another, this looks like it's going to be one heck of a tight race here. Just goes to show you how good both these runners are. So again, give them a follow. They're putting out a fantastic show here. And Mindium and myself are just having the privilege of being able to commentate this as we go along.
Yep, always fun to be in the booth for a match between a couple of good buddies. They're both friends of mine, they're both friends with each other. Here they are, putting it all on the line on a Friday night under the rando lights here on the SpeedGaming Network on SpeedGaming 3, and yeah, we're not done yet.
Now, does homemade beer check the last chest here, which would actually be the first one? which would have his mirror shield. Oh no, no mirror shield for homemade beer. Rip that dream.
AFG with 2 dungeons remaining. Homemade beer about to be 1 dungeon remaining, but getting into Swamp Palace is maybe a little more time consuming. The Swamp Palace versus Desert Palace play in the inverted format, I'm a little less sure of the relative times on.
Yeah, because the only way that we can get through desert and inverted is with the book. It's not exactly the easiest thing to get to. So, it's still kind of early to tell because solely for the fact that Swamp Palace is not a free dungeon as far as to get through. This is still going to be really close. I kind of expect it to be. Oh boy, they're going to be in GT pretty close to each other. Maybe a minute gap ultimately, which when it comes down to it is going to come down to GT routing. Wherever that GT big key is in Ganon's Tower could decide the entire race.
AFG was going for the fast Mire 2 there, and the Sword Beam and the Popo just did not quite connect, so it took him the additional cycle. Unfortunate, but I respect him going for the fast strat.
Now, mind him, I gotta ask you as a runner, knowing the fact that this was all dungeons, and even if you're to put yourself in both average frustrated gamer's position and homemade beer's position, do you feel like you're even like how would you feel about this seed? I mean, these runners have got to be getting. I don't want to say that nerves are in play, but I know that I'd be a little bit nervous knowing what did my opponent do? Did they have knowledge of this before I did? Did they get this before I did? I mean, this is a nerve-wracking race when you really think about it.
Yeah, AFG with the late boots, with the late knowledge of Ice Rod, but Homemade Beer with that nigh last location of the hook shot, both of them have to be thinking, this is a mistake that my opponent cannot possibly have made, right? I'm in trouble. And as is so often the case with Rando, it's not that your opponent made the same mistake you did, but there were other traps in the seed, and both of them happened to have hit a snag or two, and so rather than being several minutes behind one way or the other, it's reasonably close, all things considered. It looks like AFG is going to be roughly a back of desert behind here.
All right. So let me get this straight here from Homemade Beer's side. He refused to check the rest of the laser bridge. However, he wanted to fluff those 2 checks from the second diver down room and the waterfall chest. What could he be looking for? Silver still? Is that what he's thinking?
That would be the outstanding possibility. He has very nearly achieved tracker percent. Other than that, maybe he wants the blue meringue as well to try and tie everything together here at the end of the game.
No. He turned down Bloomerang, which I believe was on Library.
Oh, you're right. That's been a hot minute. I've forgotten that one.
The fact that I remembered was amazing.
I'm surprised. This Ed is a horse of a different color.
I shock myself once in a while.
Because, yeah, he's already landed on bottle percent and mirror shield and silvers. There are a couple of mail upgrades out there, although I think he has to have seen the one that AFG got, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't even think he necessarily. To be honest, you know what I'd be curious about that I don't know? Does the chicken sprite change color with a male upgrade? That I don't even know.
I think it does. I think it turns blue when you get blue mail. It's very off-putting.
Nice. Which, by the way, real quick, he is heading his way to GT. So if anybody else wants to guess real quick, there's 22 checks in GT for the GT Big Key. If you guess correctly, I will give you a shout out or mind him because he's got a better voice than I do.
$10 and $20, so no hope at all in Hope Room, and I don't know, Ed, are we in a situation where Wayne routers win again, or are you just supposed to go left and live with it?
Oh, rando room for life here. It's gonna be check number 10, guaranteed.
50 rupees just toasting there on the torch. Eventually you should probably take them off. They're likely to get a little crispy and then start smoking and set off the Ganon's Tower fire alarm. That could be a problem.
Well, never mind. There's the big key. Oh, never mind. I lied there. There's the big key to Skull Woods.
The big key to a dungeon that you don't have to have the big key to complete. The game with just a little bit of a bait for the runner there.
Imagine this seed throwing out any more trolls to these runners.
There's the other
And
male
look,
upgrade.
there he is. He's blue. That's awesome. That is legit awesome. I never knew.
Blue chicken, there we are.
So with the lack of the big key here, if AFG does do any sort of, I don't even know what color magician it is, or even we'll just give acknowledgement to Wayne, who again is a fantastic runner. If the GT big key's on the right side and AFG decides to go there, the advantage swings to his way.
It's always nice to have that potential for the late game turnaround in a race that's been this close all the way along. Where you've thought, well, this runner has the advantage. No, that runner has the advantage. Which runner has the advantage? Well, we've got a map. Oh, there's a big key to this dungeon. Okay, so Wayne router's in shambles, unfortunately. Homemade beer, now with that big key, is ready to climb the tower, and AFG is, in fact, going to go with that Stalco's room right strat. And that is not the correct answer for this seed.
Once again, random room rushers win again. And whether I should do this or not, I don't care. Seeing as it was check number 11 and nobody got it, I do see two people that guessed 10, the same number that I would, so I apologize if I pronounce it wrong. Dial and Nerd to Nerd, I love that name, both guessed 10. You're close enough, so you get a shout out from me. So thank you again for participating into the GT Big Key guessing game, and we look forward to the next one.
It could have been at least a little interesting if Silvers had been over there. There was a race earlier today that was certainly swung by that, but here we are. Does not seem that that is going to be AFG's out, at least not at the moment. Now, Homemade Beer is having a little bit of an adventure here on the climb. There was a fairy back in the Stalco's room that he turned down, and here's another one, just in time fairy. Down to 3 hearts nearing the end of the gauntlet, and now suddenly hit points abound.
I just want to hear the heart beeps a little bit, that's all. All part of the strategy.
Almost with the 1 cycle of Landmo 2, but that was a very short hop by the 3rd of the Landmoli.
By the way, again, worth noting here, first time I've actually mentioned it here, we're listening to Homemade Beer's MSU, which I believe is Diddy Kong Racing, which I've been thoroughly enjoying the entire time. Really cool MSU that we got to enjoy listening here.
AFG with that big key now in hand, but Homemade Beer is already in Torches 1. Going to need a very clean climb from AFG, and he's going to need a little help if he's going to pull this one out. I see that Beer watched that race earlier. In fact, I know he did because I talked to him about it. He is not going to avoid having made all of these checks, opening these chests on the way to Moldorm 2, and even the one after Moldorm 2, just to make sure that there is not a sudden Silver's advantage if he can help it.
Oh, come on, Beer, come on. You hovered Hookshot Cave earlier. It was a fantastic thing. There's no need to kill Moldorm here. You should just hover this. Come on, dude.
Ah, Vanilla and the ultimate chest of the game, a rando classic. AFG with the use of the medallion there on the Stelcos. If you don't want to deal with all of the RNG and them trying to avoid your sword swings or walking out of the way of the pots or the fire rod shots or whatever you try to throw at them, Ether does get the job done in a reasonable amount of time.
Nice Agate 2 fight there from Homemade Beer, as he is down left to slay the big pig. Are you ready for some bacon there, my DM?
I have been for a while, but right now I'm a little more interested in the Koopa bacon.
Tastes like chicken.
Again, and even an evil overlord looking after the health of the hero who's come to slay him. What a big-hearted pig he is.
Big body equals a big heart, what can I say? Big work from the first two phases here as Beer gets the 1-1 here as we're on to phase 3. Ganon playing tricks as he always does, warping 50 million times.
Did you find the arrows in the Dark World? I believe somebody in chat did mention that that was likely Pyramid Fairy. I don't think there's a whole lot else left. As far as Dark World checks, there may not be anything else left.
Yeah, I would imagine Pyramid Fairy, I believe, is the only thing that was left. AFD throwing some bombs in Validation Chest. You know, that could have been Silvers. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, come on.
Just a couple more spins to win here from Homemade Beer, but does need one additional torchlight to get the job done. There it is, 12 spins into the pig, and the pig explodes. Long live the pig. Homemade Beer with that sword raised in the victory position just has to wait out this fanfare. That, of course, really he's been done for 10 minutes. I have not been looking at the race room, but now it is safe to say Homemade Beer, crossing the bridge first, has won this thing. Ed, have you got official times?
I do
An
have an
official time
official
for Beer, anyway.
Yeah, I do have an official time. Homemade Beer finishes with an official racetime.gg time of 1 hour 48 minutes on the nose. GG's to Homemade Beer.
Very nicely done for an inverted all-dungeon seed.
I bet
going to drop into the Ganon fight here. Just going to be a couple of minutes behind. Very, very nice race from the two of them, given all of the things that were required to put paid to this one.
Hey, even considering that average frustrated gamer did take the Blaine route, some magician route. I don't even know all the magician colors at this point. Still made it. Did an excellent GT climb here as he's finishing off Ganon here. This was one heck of a race. I mean, anytime they have all dungeons, whew, amazing.
AFG just about into phase 4 here, gets the pig nice and set up. Did you find the heroes in the Dark World? And all he can say is no, Ganon. No, I did not.
We don't need those stinking silver arrows.
With the torch glitch and the half magic, it's really just a matter of endurance here and making sure you don't put yourself in a bad position and knock yourself off, because there's not a lot that Ganon will do in phase 4 that's going to surprise you. AFG going for what the NMG community calls baby triples. More assured, it takes a little longer, but you have to think that maybe he's already had his eye on the race room and he just wants to go ahead and ensure that he brings this one home without having to worry about anything else. There it is, 12 spins into the pig, again and exploding for AFG. Roy there with the entire kit, gonna hold the sword up in the air and then cross the bridge. And we can start bringing this one home because both of our runners are done. Congratulations. Beats from the East takes this game. Another win on the season raises their total up to 6 points. And we are
GG's
joined in the booth by Homemade Beer. Good game.
Hello. GG's.
GG's to you, Beer. All right, I got one question for you. You do realize that your true go mode was on Laser Bridge, and I am not talking about the hook shot. I'm not talking about that.
What did I miss? What did I?
The mirror shield was also there too.
Oh, why didn't I do that before Eastern?
We wondered the same thing.
It was a choice.
It made it a much more exciting race. If you had gotten that hook shot at the time, you already had the PED knowledge, and this would not have been a 2-minute race. So, by not doing that, you made it a much more entertaining watch for everybody out there in Chatland. Although your teammates may have a few words for you, I think some hearts may have been beating a little more quickly than they would have liked.
Okay, look, I knew the ice rod was there. I suspected the hook shot was in TR at this point, and I was like, I just go mode Eastern and get the ice rod so I can just beat TR and get the hook shot and be done. Like, no, that's stupid because I should have just got the hook shot and then I could have done Swamp and then been done. So, like, nah. And then when of course like Eastern Big Key Chest had an item like guaranteed, I was like, okay, well, I don't know. This one was tough. I don't know why I didn't want to do Aga in Improvement, but like, I was like, well, my file name was Believe in Pod. I kind of gotta do that, you know, so I did. Led to 4 small keys and a compass.
Yeah, it was an interesting early game kind of divergence. We are joined by AFG, who did make the earlier Aga play. AFG, good game.
A good game. How you doing, gentlemen? What's up?
Hello, my friend.
Hello.
GG's, sir.
Done, sir. GG.
Oh my goodness! You said that you only roll the best seeds, so I now agree.
That's what I do. Last time was a PED book for my last Ambrosia, so I've been digging rolling them lately.
Yeah.
I can even give you thanks on that, AFG. Thank you very much.
I'm glad to help. For you, I could do anything.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that really threw my routing off was not having enough money for chess game. And if I had the Moon Pearl after fighting Boots, I would have gone straight to Aga, but I didn't. So once I got it, I'm like, I don't climb the mountain again or like try and dodge Aga, you know?
Oh, so you had the boots way earlier than me. Okay.
Before the Moon Pearl.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I don't know. So I tried to dodge Aga, and the front of TR was 4 small keys and a compass. I was like, well, I guess I'll go do Aga now. 30 minutes.
Well, Samaria was there, right?
Yeah. Samaria was in pod. Let me get into TR, which had 4 small keys and a compass.
Yes.
That was
definitely disappointed that I can't bring one home for my team. It's really starting to be a monkey on my back that I got to get off of here. But, well, it was it was an emotional damage kind of seed for me. First in Skull Woods, I wasted so much time trying to make sure I got. It wasn't even like moth. I just wasted so much time trying to make sure I got back there with enough magic to handle the fight pretty well. And I was just like, the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. And then
that fight sucked though.
that fight did suck. And then once I got the boots and Super Bunny at 110, my heart dropped and I was like, I am baked. I am completely baked. And then like no play I was making was working out until Pod had Samaria. And then once I saw Ice Rod on a pedestal, I rose and I was like, I'm alive. I got a heartbeat. Oh my God, let's go.
That's funny because I had the same feeling when I saw it. I'm like, oh cool, I think I'm okay now because of how late I did a lot of stuff. It was both of our hope.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Looks like there's a race here in a minute. All right.
Yeah, it seems like we do have another race coming up, so we are going to have to close up on you guys fairly quickly, but Homemade Beer bringing home the W for Beats from the East raises your team up to 6 points on the season. Any more thoughts on the seed? Any more things you want to get said while it's still Inversion week for you?
I just want to say thanks AFG for forcing me to play inverted every week because I hate it. But I love you, and I love my other teammates, the commentators today, as well as Royale with Cheese. You're all the best. Thanks, crew.
Yes, I love you too. I also hate you. I hate you very much. I love you and I hate you. Go dip in a pool of not homemade beer and be sad because you made me sad. You made me sad. Nah, it was fun. No, thank you. It was a good time. My Indian, Mr. Ed, thank you so much for calming this. Royale. What is Rando without friends, right? I love you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
This was so much fun on my DM and myself side, along with Royale doing the tracking. So we thank you guys very much for putting on this great race. And AFG, never roll a seed for me ever again, please. Just stop. Just please, I beg of you, stop rolling seeds.
No one is allowed to give Mr. Ed a seed ever unless it's me from now on.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I was really expecting the rejoinder to that to be, now listen, horse.
Thank you for filling that opportunity for me. I'm sad that I missed it.
Legit facts.
Yep, and no worries, we did get TTT shouted out early. It happens on race time, so if anybody is a fan of inverted modes, a reminder that's a thing that happens on Tuesdays. It's not a speed gaming thing, but it is a link to the past rando thing, so, you know, both of the racers who were putting on the show here today that do take part in that, AFG, the one who started putting it together to begin with, both of you put on a wonderful show for us. Maybe not the cleanest all-around thing, but when it comes down to just a couple of minutes in all dungeons, I think everybody in chat was entertained. And, well, really that's what we're here for, isn't it? We're here to have a little fun.
Absolutely. What's the point? If you're not having fun, go away.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Ed, I had a blast. Royale, thank you for keeping all of us on track and on point in some cases. Everybody out there in Chatland, thank you for giving us a couple of hours of your time on this Friday evening or Saturday morning, or even could be early afternoon for some of you at this point, I suppose. But yeah, right here on Speed Gaming 3, I believe we have another race coming up. I'm not looking at the schedule immediately, so I don't know if it's more League or if it's something else, but feel free to hang out and enjoy if that's the kind of thing you want to spend your day with. Otherwise, you can go to speedgaming.org/schedule and find out what else is going on around the Speed Gaming family of channels, Speed Gaming 2 through 6, the alternate language channels Espanol, Francais, Portuguese, and Deutsch, I believe there is a Deutsch 2. There may also be an Espanol 2 at this point. It becomes difficult to keep track of all of those things. But anyway, if you happen to speak any of those languages, we do have some of these races being simulcast there if it's something that you want out of your ALTTPR League experience. And otherwise, just come on back in the future, stay tuned. We'll have a lot more League and a lot more of all sorts of other things going on here. Ed, that's all I needed to say. If you've got a couple of final words, we can go ahead and send on out and get this turned over to whatever they need to do next.
You basically nailed everything on the head. To Mindium, thank you again for joining the booth with me. To Homemade Beer and to Average Frustrated Gamer, thank you for putting on a fantastic race. To Royale with Cheese, thank you again for tracking, and to everybody affiliated with the Speed Gaming community, you guys are really the true heroes here. If it wasn't for the community as a whole, we wouldn't have a place here to be able to commentate and put on a show for you guys. So thanks to all the interest that you guys show and everything that we do here. Thank you guys so much. It's been an honor, and I look forward to our next time that we have here. So until next time, I am Mr. Ed3, along with my buddy here, Mindium, signing things off here, and we'll catch you guys again soon.